Support for this podcast comes from UTSA's Graduate School, featuring a world-class faculty, mentoring programs, and a professional development center to contribute to your future success. The University of Texas at San Antonio. Visit utsa.edu/graduate to learn more or apply.
Blog Talk Radio.
Correct, Todd?
We are.
Sweet. For a second there, it didn't click in my head. I was like, oh, that's not our intro then. But, yes, I am Daniel Shine. I am joined, as always, by Todd Loya. And we want to welcome you guys to a brand new episode of Horror Society Presents Flesh Wound Radio. Yeah. New intro threw me off a little bit, but that's all good. It is a special...
Yes, it was a special post-Nuke intro. We'll be back to normal next week.
We apologize in advance for any comments about, raping raiders and mutants. We'll get into it. These post-Nuke shows always bring out the... teen boys in us, so yes.
I think this week especially it will.
Yeah, this week, yeah. I was going to say one movie in particular, and I know you know what it is. I was like, God, wow, that one pretty offensive for today's audiences. Not so much. Well, we'll get to that, but yeah, it's been a crazy week. I mean, Bill Cosby's a rapist. Jared, the subway guy, likes little children. It's, crazy week. So it's nice to kind of have some normalcy here. Flesh Wound Radio. We're, all of our perversions, and we put it all out there for you. It's not quite that bad. So yeah, we're more wholesome than Cosby or Jared from Subway, Todd. That's awesome.
I know, poor guy. We'll get into him. I don't know about poor guy. We'll get...
Believe it or not, that segues into a legit horror news bit.
That's why I was saying I didn't want to spill the news bit before we got to it. Yes, I'm not saying poor guy, but he did have some disappointing news before anything else gets cut off in prison. Go ahead and talk about the cutting.
Yes. They are officially removing him from Sharknado 3. That's got to be even worse than the ass raping. I was about to say $5 foot-long ass raping that he's going to get in prison. Yes, according to Entertainment Weekly, he has been, his appearance in Sharknado 3, Oh Hell No, has been excised from the film following the FBI's raid on his house in Indiana Tuesday. Jared, of course, had previously appeared in the second one. And Sharknado 3, of course, premieres on Sci-Fi Wednesday, July 22nd at 9 p.m. Eastern. If I haven't watched it over yet, but if memory serves me, didn't he fucking die in the second one? Maybe.
I don't even remember him in the second one. And I have not watched the Blu-ray since the original airing. I'm wondering if maybe he lives in the unrated cut. I don't know. I'll have to revisit those.
If I recall, he was sitting on a bench in the actual subway, and I thought a shark took him out, but maybe he just reacted to a shark. I don't know. Well, like I said, at this point, maybe he wishes the shark had killed him, but yeah. Some other news, not a whole lot for you guys today, but actually quite a bit from Comic-Con right now. I don't know if this is news at this point because I don't really think it's going to happen, but Wesley Snipes is apparently willing to play Blade. I've seen this interview with him before, but he apparently just had a meeting with Marvel, and he said it was a wonderful meeting, and he's hopeful that he'll be able to return in another Blade installment. I don't know. I wouldn't count on it at this point. I know he's got a new television series. He's making the TV jump, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't think it would be a bad thing to see him playing Blade because I think he did a pretty good job. He's an action star that can, in fact, act. But we'll see. Another bit of news.
I was just gonna say keep Triple H off the set. I mean, his racist shirts. You just be glad Bubba Ray wasn't there with his Confederate flag bandana like back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Blade is going to be a reboot at some point. I don't think you're going to see Snipes back as Blade. I mean, he's in great shape. I think he's early 50s. I mean, he certainly could do it, but I don't think it's going to happen. It'll be a reboot.
Sticky Fingers?
I was going to say Sticky Fingers has just probably more likely to play Blade in a new version than Wesley Snipes at this point. Release news, the Human Centipede trilogy is going to be hitting Blu-ray in a new set coming from Screen Factory. And it's going to be the entire thing, one collectible set, and new extras as well. So I don't know that I'm going to pick that one up. I think I'm content with Human Centipede just on single Blu-rays. I'm not quite sure what they'll do as far as new extras. It could be kind of entertaining to get like Trey Parker and Matt Stone to come on and talk about the Human Sentai pad or something unique that might entice people to buy it. But I'm kind of okay. If you haven't seen the third one or heard our review yet, it is definitely the most offensive of the bunch. So if you're into those.
And I do think we're in the minority on that one with our review.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say. So, trying to see here. There's different bits of news. This seems like I've already heard of this one, but I saw somebody had sent it to me. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is getting remade. I know it was rumored a while back that it was maybe going to be like a TV show. Maybe the Glee people were behind it or something. But
I do remember a TV reboot movie not too long ago, like not necessarily a series, but a made-for-television.
Like a year back or so, something like that.
Doesn't even seem like that long, but yes.
Yeah, apparently, and this apparently as well. They're saying it's for TV. Fox is producing it in celebration of the movie's 40th anniversary. Kenneth Ortega is going to be who is behind High School Musical. I'm sure that's great news for horror fans. Is at the helm of the project alongside original movie producers Gail Berman and Lou Adler. I don't know. I just, that one just seems like a pointless one to me. That's a very unique cult movie, unless, if it's a shot-for-shot sort of remake, and then if you change stuff, I know a lot of people are going to be unhappy. But I've never been a huge...
I'm not either, but if you're going to do that, what is to mind something entertaining? Go get Poultrygeist and do a Fox TV movie of that.
Exactly. They could do a big budget version of Poultrygeist. I'm not sure who would star. Not Jared from Subway or Bill Cosby at this point. That's all I know. Let's see. Probably just the last bit of news I have. I was actually mixed up for a minute because I guess tomorrow is when Scream Factory is going to announce the 10 new titles at Comic-Con. I saw Human Centipede and I was just like, oh fuck, that one shouldn't count. But then apparently that was not included in the 10 that they're announcing tomorrow. But Scream Factory did pick up the rights to put the new Eli Roth produced The Stranger on Blu-ray. The Stranger is just from the synopsis. Actually, it's a very long synopsis, so I'm not going to read it because we want to get to our show early tonight. But it's gotten some pretty fantastic reviews, so definitely check that out. It's part of the IFC Midnight deal. And Todd, I believe that's all I have as far as news goes, unless I missed something crucial, which I may have because we're in the midst of packing up to move right now. Did I miss anything?
No, not really, but here's one little piece of release news. I know we're not really good because tons of stuff has got announced covers, but one I found interesting, and I want to say it's in September, I can't remember the exact date, Sony will be putting out their own Christine Blu-ray.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's good news. Yeah, that was the Twilight time, right?
Yes, that's good news for, anyone who missed out. It's bad news for those who spent way too much money trying to get them on eBay. So I'm not sure if it's going to be the same disc that came out overseas. It's just a bare bones disc, or if, because all this stuff that was on the Twilight disc was ported over from the collector's edition DVD, so that could basically be the same disc they're putting out. I mean, that'd be nice for people who missed out, but either way,
$7.50 in the Walmart discount bin versus the $35 you paid through Screen Archives. Yeah, that does kind of suck. But you never know. Like I said, I was asleep at the wheel for the Fright Night, the original Blu-ray, and I was kicking myself. I was about ready to shell down some serious bucks, and thank God I didn't before they announced the improved edition of that. So you just never know. They're getting me with the limited edition stuff. There's been a lot more of that lately. When they say it, I have to admit I buy it, even if it's something that I'm not as, I have to have it. So fortunately, I think there'll be a lot more of that, but we shall see. I do want to throw out there, because it didn't ship when it should have, a movie we reviewed recently, The Color from Space. The Color Out of Space, the H.P. Lovecraft adaptation that we gave a pretty solid review to. That Blu-ray, which is limited to 1,000 copies, is shipping now. They didn't make a street date for some reason, but I've got mine, and that's 1,000 copies, and that'll. Oh, you did, sweet. Yeah, I was gonna say that one will be expensive. There've been a couple H.P. Lovecraft things that not in no way, big productions or anything, but the releases went out of print and they got expensive. So I expect the same with this one, because it's pretty well regarded right now. So So yes, without further ado, this is, of course, our post-Nuke Meltdown Part 2, the Filipino era. Todd and I, of course, as you realized last week, are huge post-Nuke fans, and yeah, we'll kind of maybe revisit that question we posed last week with which ones do we think are better, the Italian ones or the Filipino ones? It could be kind of interesting. I don't even know what Todd's going to say about that tonight, but we of course will have also a review for The Treatment later on as well, which is another new Blu-ray from Artsploitation, who've been on a hell of a roll lately as far as quality goes, and we'll see if they continue the trend. So I guess our first film for the evening, I guess we'll tackle this one first because I'm actually kind of really curious to see what you have to say about it, and that is Equalizer 2000, which is a 1986 film from producer-director Cirio H. Santiago, who has made all of the films tonight. And from the back cover, following a nuclear holocaust, Alaska is turned into a desert ruled by a cruel tyrant. This sci-fi post-nuke actioneer chronicles the attempts of rebels to usurp the tyrant and free up the water and other resources for others. Essentially, this is another wild knockoff of the Mad Max films. One man named Slade, played by the legendary Richard Norton, leads the revolution to battle the army of villains using his special gun called the Equalizer. Penthouse Hottie, Corinne Alphen, William Stice, Fred Bailey, and Robert Patrick of T2 fame star. Directed by post-nuke director extraordinaire Cirio H. Santiago. So this one was interesting because I was a big fan of it as a child, and revisiting it was kind of strange because, to be honest, it doesn't hold up that well. It's a similar thing where it's not going to be a negative for me because I just like all of these films, whether some are better than others, and this is definitely revisiting it more towards the bottom of the pack.
That is too funny because I had the same realization myself.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Maybe I was lumping a few together. It's strange because, watching this one again, and it's a theme with all of the films tonight. They are basically 95% action. And this one, it literally 95% action. I think you could actually time it. I don't think there's ever more than 2 minutes, if that, in between shootouts in this movie.
Yeah.
It's strange. The lack of budget for this one is much more apparent as an adult viewer. This one kind of felt like it just used the same rock quarry. Not that there's a ton of different locations in the other movies, but this one, I don't know. It just, the lack of budget. Richard Norton was quite wooden in this one. That's not always the case in his films, but I don't know. This one, for some reason, he just seemed really, really wooden. And it's the very definition of a dumb action flick. The plot is non-existent. There's the action didn't even feel all that exciting in this one. It's very strange. Robert Patrick's literally in a Civil War reenactor's outfit. It really felt kind of strange and random, like they just made this in between another post-nuke movie and they just made it on leftovers. I don't know. It lacks a lot. It lacks the sleeves. There's no nudity in this movie. There's, I don't think so. Was there no nudity in this one? There wasn't, I believe. They even had that cutaway scene, Todd. Did you notice that one?
Yeah, and it actually makes me think, and my memory could be wrong, that there may be more to that scene in the Japanese tape. And God, I'm sorry, Bill, if I'm
so
right.
Too. I didn't want to go right out and say it for a fact, but yeah, there's a scene where Norton, and again, it's a Playboy Playmate, you would kind of expect a little bit of nudity, goes to like pull her top down, it just cuts away, like you don't see anything. And, like I said, it's not, we're not talking high art here. They weren't just trying to do a tender love scene. We want to see some boobs. It's, it's post-Nuke here. I think we can show some boobs in it. I mean, I still like the movie. It picks up towards the end. Like I said, it's nonstop action. Probably the funniest thing in the movie is the line from the Playmate, Corinne Wall, where she says, I'd love to blow you guys right here, as she's holding a gun. And Robert Patrick's reply, I don't think it was his reply, but one of the guys, keep your pants on, little missy. Definitely like the lost in translation moment, I think. But, I mean, Todd, what did you think? I mean, this one definitely wasn't what I remembered it being.
Yeah, that is funny. I had the same thing, and I saved this one for last because I had always, remembered it being one of the ones I go to, naming this one, Hands of Steel, a few other ones that we didn't talk about. And it's funny, I had the opposite effect later. It's still entertaining. It's just not what I remembered, as you mentioned. I grew up with this one, and I watched this one over and over on the MGM tape. And while it's still fun, mindless post-Nuke action film, it's not in my top. It kind of makes me afraid to watch some of the other ones. But this is the only one that's changed my opinion in the negative, I think, out of everything I've revisited. But it's still one worth checking out. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a good beginner post-Nuke film now. I think once you get into the genre, it's a better one. But I wouldn't say, okay, your first one, go with that one.
No, not at all, not at all. And hopefully some of the people, because I remember last show, I was like, I remember that one being quite good. Not really the case. I mean, there is some comedy to be had in this, unintentional comedy, which, is a theme, and it makes these movies fun with the I guess I'll call them the American Indian bow and arrow faction that had, like, the kiss makeup on their face. The Filipino American Indian KISS faction, I guess we'll call them. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, like I said, the finale gets a little more lively. The villain was kind of weak. It really could have used a more developed villain. In this one, you really don't even get that sense of, Richard Norton, the good guy going after this vicious bad guy. It kind of just happens. You don't get this sense of a rivalry, which you get in some of the other films. It's just, I don't know, and nothing's developed in this. Like I said, I think he spoke maybe 3 lines to the girl the whole movie. Not that these movies need to be, tons of character development. I'm not in any way saying that, but hell, you do get to see, the T-1000 try and rape somebody at one point. So maybe that's reason enough to see it. Rape does tend to be a theme in the Filipino post-apocalyptic, future. They be raping, I guess. But as far as the extras go, what did you think of the extras, Todd? I thought they were more than solid.
Yeah, I did. I did think it was funny. And did you watch I forget what they call it, on the post-Nuke theater?
I did indeed. Yes.
I figured you
Bill
would.
had his.
I know.
Bill had his banana cameo.
Yeah. We always enjoy the cat featurettes. Thank God we have to deal with Maria trying to push her shitty music. Although I don't mind her on Ring of Honor, but that's a different story. And I did think it was funny that they mentioned there was going to be a Robert Patrick interview, so I don't know what happened with that.
Yeah, I had that written down in my notes. Oh, that's a big one to kind of.
Yeah.
Philippines had and will even married an actress from one of these films, which we'll talk about on the later review. But yeah, I was really disappointed in that. Now, I didn't think it was there before. Robert Patrick's on Scorpion right now, so he's kind of an mainstream actor at the moment. But I would have really loved to have seen that. Have you heard anything through any of the Code Red pages about why it's not there?
No, I don't know. Maybe it fell through last minute. If not, I'm sure we haven't heard any rants about him, so I don't know what happened. I did like the interview with the writer,
Fred Bailey.
Yes, I know he's been on some of the other Code Red discs, I believe. Or am I making that up?
Oh well, yeah. I mean, he was on the Wheels of Fire one, and yeah, I think he's been on some other stuff too.
Yeah, I was thinking non-posting stuff. Some of the other. What else have they done, Corman? I can't even think. I know there was that one disc that had like Corman on, and he said like 3 words about the movie. Yeah, we made this movie.
Yeah.
That was like basically it. He literally did not want to talk about whatever the movie was.
Yeah.
I can't.
Corman's usually fairly diplomatic about his movies. I think privately, I know he says certain things, obviously, but yeah, the Frederick Bailey interview had some interviews, I should say, had some pretty good info. I mean, essentially talked about taking Winchester 73 and blending the plot of that with Road Warrior, and I can imagine there was probably a lot. I mean, one other thing about Equalizer 2000, the gun is not particularly impressive.
Yeah.
It kind of just looks like just another gun. I don't know. This is a weird one. Even as a kid, I'm trying to think, what was it about it that really made me love it? And all I can think of is I was so into these movies at that time, and they just blended together. And Richard Norton, this one has the most notable cult movie figure that headlined it. So, Dune Warriors, if we get that, of course, David Carradine.
And it's really awesome cover, too.
Yeah, it did have the awesome cover. That's, it's funny watching it again. I think I just kind of blended them together, and for whatever reason, this one held up better. I mean, and Richard Norton, if you're not familiar with him, really look at his filmography. It is pretty damn impressive. Some movies, better than others, but I mean, he was just in Mad Max Fury Road as the Prime and Imperator. He's been in Gymkata, Force 5, American Ninja, Shanghai Express, City Hunter, Tough and Deadly, Mr. Nice Guy, Sword of the Bushido, The Octagon, Force Vengeance, Raiders of the Sun, which was another post-Nuke flick. I mean, he's got a hell of a filmography, so definitely check it out. This is unfortunate. Not one of the best ones, though.
Yeah, and he finally went full circle with, from his Mad Max ripoff to being in an actual one. Yeah,
I was going to say, and he was even, I want to say just a few years after this, I think he was in Blood of Heroes, which is a fantastic film with Rutger Hauer and Vincent D'Onofrio,
Doesn't that have an alternate time? Is that Salute of the Jugger?
Yeah, Jugger, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember him in that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I remember him having a role in that one too, which another one, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. just his filmography in general. Like I said, don't judge him by this one. He just, I don't know, this one he just felt kind of, and again, part of it is the silent hero sort of thing that's a theme with a lot of these movies, but he just felt, I don't know, I felt at times like I was watching like Bob Vila, you know, in his younger days headlining a post-Nuke movie. He just didn't have any...
well, I want to see that now.
Yeah, I was going to say. But
I didn't before today, but now I do. I didn't before today, but now I really want to see that.
Yeah. Maybe we can make something happen. I don't know if he's still doing home repair stuff, but I don't know. Maybe somebody blows up his house that he just built and he comes back for revenge with his trusty 2x4. I don't know. It could be interesting. But as far as this particular movie goes, the extras are all you could reasonably expect. I'm stoked that these movies had extras at all. I'm kind of surprised they weren't able to get Richard Norton. That seemed like one, because he's still active. He still makes movies. Maybe he'd rather forget this one. I don't know, but that would have been a cool interview to get on this. But you know, it is what it is. It's still.
I do want to say, because I brought it up, I'm not disputing the fact that this is the uncut director's cut or anything like that. My memory could be failing as Dan's also, because I just kind of did a quick glance to see if I could find anything on it, and I didn't find any mention of nudity or the fact it was cut. And I looked up a site, and they had screenshots from the movie. And anytime there's nudity, they always put those on that site.
Okay, it could be. You know, it could be like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre scenario where you remember it being, you know, at least a lot of people remember it being like this ultimate gory film, and it's like, wow, you know, really, there's no blood. It's just you think you saw it because you know what's implied and what your mind creates. But our minds create our young teenage minds created tits where there were no tits to be had. So,
and thank God for that.
I'm trying to remember.
Made it a better movie in history.
That's how it worked back in the day, you know, no internet. And, you know, sometimes you actually had to masturbate to your own perverted thoughts. So that's how it goes. Yes. That's why everybody's going insane in the post-Nuke world. It's because they don't have porn anymore. That's why everybody's trying to rape everybody in these movies.
I was going to say. There's no in the post-Nuke.
For anybody whose cocks didn't melt off, you know, what are you going to do? I was going to say, and I do want to throw this out there because I don't know if it's going to be a part of the post-Nuke line, but you can still get another Santiago and Richard Norton post-Nuke flick, Raiders of the Sun, on DVD through New Horizons, which still have their Amazon store straight from Corman. Last I checked, I think you can get it for like $12. And I don't know if that one is going to get a Blu-ray at any point or not. The DVD being available still might hurt that, but yes, the movie as a whole, 2.5 stars, really. I mean, it's not the worst of the post-Nuke films. Of course, that's a very large group to pull from, but it really doesn't hold up that well. It's entertaining if you love these films, but as Todd said, it's not a great place to start. So 2.5 for the movies, and I can give a 3 to the extras. I mean, there is something that was supposed to possibly be on there that wasn't, but you really can't complain too much about the extras.
It wasn't advertised on the cover or anything, so.
No, it wasn't.
I have a 3 written down, and I can't argue with your point. It is kind of middle of the road, but that nostalgia still, I did still enjoy it. Just not a great starting point. And I agree with the 3.5 on the extras.
I still like it. I don't know. And we'll get into the other movies. There's other films that I would feel the need to go and watch again because I just love them so much. This one I probably won't pop back in for a while.
I think I watched them in the wrong.
See Raiders of the Sun again.
I think I watched them in the wrong order.
Yeah, I'm interested to see these other films too. What you think? So yes, unfortunately, I guess we just created something that wasn't there. But Robert Patrick, it still was fun seeing him again. I had forgot. I know he was in this one obviously, but I had forgotten that he did. I think like 5 or 6 movies in the Philippines. He was in a few different ones. So yeah. So on to our next film for the evening. Another one I'm very, very curious to see what you think of it, and that is the 1985 film Wheels of Fire, also, of course, from producer-director Sergio Santiago. And from the back cover on this one, this tough actioneer is set in a degenerate future time when a group of lowlives terrorize everyone around in the desert land. Led by a baddie named Scourge, played by legendary Filipino staple Joe Marie Avellana, he and his henchmen kidnap and regularly rape the sister of the hero, Trace. Trace gathers up some allies in Stinger, a distant bounty hunter, and Spike, a young clairvoyant girl, so he can charge in and rescue his sister. Between the three of them, the Scourge by any name is sure to be conquered, directed by post-nuke specialist Sergio Santiago. So, Todd, how did this one hold up for you?
Actually, this one, it's funny. This one was kind of the opposite effect of the last one for me. I'd always consider this one. Okay, so I'm glad I got to say this time first. Well, this one I always kind of thought it was a more of a middle. Well, I don't know. You may not agree. It was more of a middle of the road post nuke. I ended up having a really good time with this one. It's definitely not politically correct, but
at all.
I think this is the kind of post nuke to, really get your teeth wet, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good starting point.
And it's got that, even if you're not a huge fan of the genre, this one's outrageous enough. You'll still have some fun with it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And much like Equalizer 2000, nonstop action, that's a theme, and that's a good thing. These films are not boring. There's always something going on. But this one really encompasses what you really want out of these Mad Max post-nuke ripoffs. Great villain in this case, as I said, Joe Marie Avellano. You'll recognize him from countless different films, Corman films from the Philippines, and it's sleazy. Quite frankly, it's a really sleazy film. There is,
and that's how we like
there's nudity in this one. There's gratuitous nudity. It's kind of got the whole rape revenge thing going for it. It kind of combines a little bit more. There's random shit. We have albino mutants that show up at one point. The action feels a bit more exciting. It's a little more spread out rather than just the typical, explosions and car crashes. I think my favorite was the mute midget character that just shows up, and Mud was the midget's name, who just kind of speaks gibberish and is kind of there. He doesn't really help or add anything to it. It's kind of like Tattoo's retarded cousin from Fantasy Island. There might be an episode there somewhere. This one just threw in all sorts of crazy shit, from the hippie commune that's trying to build a rocket ship so they can, create a better world, and it's got kind of a mean sort of edge to it. Like I said, the action's nonstop. There's lots of henchmen being set on fire. The Philippines was kind of notorious for stuntmen that would do anything, and I'm sure Santiago's got a mass grave out there somewhere. Maybe that's where the rock quarry is. The locations are a little bit more diverse. Like I said, with Equalizer, it just really screamed that they didn't have a lot of money, because it was all like at that little rock quarry. Here, the villain's got a sort of a beachside lair, and the Philippines, there's a lot. It's not just jungle or I mean, there's desert, there's beautiful beaches. There's actually quite a bit there in the way of locations. And this also has the funny, unintentionally comedic moments. There's some pretty crazy lines where, again, I'm not trying to suggest that rape scenes are funny. They're not, but in this, they're kind of funny. They're so ridiculous. Strapping her to the car, and scene where he's just sort of like, "Do you like it rough?" Where he's just some of the talking was hilarious. I think my favorite line from her was, "I'm too good for you, greaseball. I'm not dog food," and spits on the guy. And even what is this with? They not only have to do it to her, they try and rape her boyfriend too. They kind of have that initiation scene in this. Kind of going back to the Castellari Italian ones. At one point, I was like, wow, I don't remember that in this movie. And you kind of see him at one point, like, running away from him, pants down around his ankles. And then they have to drag him behind the car. They could.
And this one was unrated. This was a new cut too, so maybe that wasn't there last time, because I didn't remember that either.
No, I always remembered the Castellari the scene that he had in which one was it now? I was going to say Warriors of the Apocalypse, but that's not the Blu-ray title. But yeah, I mean, this one's just entertaining. I mean, I loved it watching this one again. I always liked it, but kind of like you, it's like, I don't know, I guess you just forgot how good it was.
I apparently, because I was like, again, I said, oh, this was always a decent one, but I was never one I was like, oh yeah, it's one of the best, and I wouldn't say it's one of the best, but it's definitely moved up for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's well, I mean, I'll say it right now. It's the best of the bunch. Not to say anything bad about Sisterhood. We'll review that probably after our music break. But this is just an extremely entertaining movie. I would say if you're only getting one, get Wheels of Fire. Although these are kind of, you're probably going to get all three. What are you going to do? But they don't make them like this anymore. This is, and I say that just totally. I cannot see this film ever existing quite like this again. It's a product of its time, and what a great time it was. And I thought the final battle, and obviously the villain doesn't make it. Spoiler alert, was pretty cool the way they did this one. So extras. The extras on this one are the best, actually, too, which kind of makes this the one to get. You get the Corman interview. This was, he kind of talks a little bit about the first Filipino movie he did, the Big Dollhouse, or the first one, I guess, where he had, it might have been the first one, where he kind of realized Sirio Santiago's talents, and that kind of led to using Sirio in a more prominent role as a director. He talks about this one being theatrically released at the time, before it went to Best Drawn for Home Video, and he talks about how this was a very lucrative time for his company. They were making a lot of money. He became really good friends with Serio. Great little feature, not very long, but he gets some good info out there. And what did you think about the rest of the extras, Todd?
Yeah, I agree. This was overall the best extras. Excuse me. Yeah, and I noticed this one didn't even mention Corman on the cover. Excuse me. And yes, Frederick Bailey,
which is
pops
strange.
Up again. Yeah. So maybe he was a last-minute addition. And the production supervisor. I think overall, with the 3 featurettes on this one, there isn't really much left to cover on this one. Yes, I always like more, but it was the best of the bunch. I agree. And
yeah, probably the best from Fred Bailey, too. He kind of had a lot of stuff in general about the early sort of VHS boom, which this came out, boom, right at the start of it, with not having to use name stars in the early direct-to-video days. They kind of talk about losing the actor that was going to play the villain at the last minute and how that kind of ended up working out. The original title was The Vindicator. The script changed quite a bit, apparently. Lots of good info here. So definitely check it out. This one,
I am interested to see. Okay, I am. I would have been interested to see how Lee Ving would have worked in that role, though. I had not known that, and that's, I would have been interested to see him do that.
Yeah, it could have been. I don't know though. Something tells me this was probably a good move.
Yeah,
who knows?
I can't argue. I can't argue with that. I just would have liked to seen how that would have worked. Sometimes it's best when it doesn't, though.
Yeah, that's another thing with Equalizer. Again, part of it was probably just the script, but it helps when you have a villain that really has some presence about him, and that one they really didn't. This one they do. So for me, and again, when we rate these, we're kind of rating these amongst the other post-nuke, post-apocalyptic stuff. So obviously the rating is not suggesting that it's as good as a classic horror film or what have you. This is just rating them together. And for me, this one's a 4.5. It's entertaining as hell. It's definitely, if you only get one, get this. The extras are the best. Even the extras, really. I probably give them about a 4.5 on this. It's pretty much as good as you could realistically expect at this point because Serio's dead, and fantastic film, very entertaining.
100% agree, and I can't. I'm trying to think. Of anything to add on that one.
We could have had the midget come on. We could have had Mud come on. I would have liked to have seen an interview with him.
Yes, I'm not surprised.
Unless he went the way of Hervé Villachez, which is entirely possible.
Okay, on that note, jeez.
Or Wing Wing. Those little guys don't make it long.
This is true. Do we want to jump into our
yeah, probably let's
break?
do the commercial break since we're essentially half done.
Okay. Let's do that, and we will be back in just a few minutes. All right.
correct, Todd?
Yes, we are.
Sweet. Yeah, I sort of a shorter break, so I didn't get to make my Hot Pocket run, but I was pondering midgets during the break. That's what I was doing. Reminded me, the Mud character. He really did not do shit in that movie. He just kind of ran around and sort of just made weird noises. He could have cock punched somebody, help them out a little bit, but he really didn't do shit. Kind of reminded me of this Vegas story. I actually have a buddy of mine that I play cards with, who, believe it or not, it's a pretty shameful story, but it got kicked out of a casino for pie-facing a midget to the ground. The midget apparently started it because the midget's friend was falling out of his seat because he's drunk, and he caught him, and the midget thought he was trying to start shit with his friend, and it kind of led to him pie-facing a midget. And he's no longer welcome at Harrah's. I think it was Harrah's. So that's what I did during my break. So many great midget stories out there. I think what would have given Wheels of Fire a 5 is if King Kong Bundy showed up and just splashed mud. He could have been a raider. He could have just shown up, dropped the big elbow on him, and killed him off. That would have made this a 5, but a 4.5 is not too bad.
Yeah, I can't even argue that. I would have fought for that.
I would have indeed. I think, what's left to do with Hornswoggle at this point? WWE, before they release him, should bring back King Kong Bundy and have a Hornswoggle feud. I would pay to see that. They're always looking for that sort of event match at WrestleMania. I vote Bundy comes back and feuds with Hornswoggle. Maybe he can, I don't know, maybe they can do like a 2-on-1 with El Torito, WLC2, or make it a ladder match. There's money to be had there. But anyways, we had to get the wrestling references in. Our last film in this Code Red Roger Corman post-Nuke Blu-ray line is The Sisterhood. This one is from 1987, once again from producer-director Sirio Santiago. And from the back cover, the year is 2021 AD. Women have been enslaved by a brutal army of men who survived the nuclear holocaust. Their only hope for freedom is in the hands of a nomadic band of fierce she-warriors, The Sisterhood, starring Rebecca Holden of Knight Rider, Lynn Holly Johnson of For Your Eyes Only, Chuck Wagner, and Robert Dreyer. Watch The Sisterhood uncut for the first time in the U.S. in HD. So, kind of the latter of the three, and quite unique for a lot of reasons, because it's really not just post-Nuke. It's kind of also a sword and sorcery flick to a degree.
Yeah.
Todd, what did you think of this one?
I've never been a huge fan of this one, and I liked it. It was never, my go-to post-Nuke in the least, and maybe that has to do with the sword and sandals thing. My opinion coming out of it is basically the same as I went it. It's a fun little flick. Definitely needed more nudity. I was hoping we'd get it in the uncut version finally, but alas. Yeah,
a world where they don't need men. Why isn't there any lesbian action? I agree.
This is very, very true. Yeah, I don't know. I came out feeling the same way I did. I definitely, I don't know. I think it's better than Equalizer, but it's nowhere near as good as Wheels of Fire. I did laugh a few times, and I don't ever remember it before. In the opening sword fight, it just looked really bad to my adult eyes, I guess.
Yeah, there's certain action bits, but at the same time, at least it's not the fast cut shit that we see nowadays. I mean, there's so many
I agree.
Big budget action flicks where it really takes you out of it. Yeah, okay, maybe it doesn't look super convincing, some of the sword fights, but I'll still take it over a lot of that. But
I'd rather have a flimsy sword than a CGI blade any day.
Oh, absolutely. And, strangely enough, out of the three, this is probably the one with the most developed storyline. In fact, I think if you're not
that was the problem.
maybe that is the problem. I don't know, in a weird sort of way, like if you watch these back to back to back, it might kind of help that this one is a little bit different. It doesn't, it definitely feels like a different flick. I liked it. I think I may like it a little bit more than you. I mean, I definitely think our order is going to be the same this week as far as first to last. But yeah, I dug this one. It's definitely one that, like you said, there's room for sleaze. It is there. There is some nudity. But there could be a lot more, particularly with this type of storyline. The action, more or less, I thought it worked pretty good. I think the actor, what was his name? Chuck Wagner. I thought he was actually one of the better actors of these three. He really kind of felt like I said, it is kind of that sword and sorcery post-Nuke hybrid, and he kind of made sense to me. There's a lot here. Like I said, this throws telekinesis, random laser blasts. You have the sort of bad acne-looking mutants in this one that also pop up as well. It's just entertaining. Like I said, it's hard to defend it as being a brilliant piece of art, as most of these movies are, but this one was still, I don't know, this one was still entertaining to me. And it has its funny moments. It's just, again, it's really almost as much sword and sorcery as it is post-Nuke. I did laugh at the one warlord character that looked like he was hit in the face with a shovel. He's kind of doing the Frankenhooker lip thing the entire movie, which I thought was particularly amusing. But this one overall plays it a little bit more seriously, which, I don't know, maybe that's what really, with Wheels of Fire, there were a lot of unintentionally funny moments that really added to the entertainment value. But the action, definitely a lot better than Equalizer. It holds up. So yeah. This is the second best of the evening. And Todd, what else do you have to say about this one and the extras as well?
I found another one. Well, what were the extras on this? They all kind of blend together. Okay, this was the one with Cat's Eyes, Rebecca Holden.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good little interview. I mean, this is one I would have liked some more. And we didn't really mention on the last one, but I do really, really like these the Katrina hosted. What are they calling with this one? The post-Nuke Theater. Because I mean, she does her research. They're all, very entertaining. Lots of information. Spoiler-free for the most part.
She blows up the banana in this one too.
She blows up the banana, and I know a lot of people would like to see that.
Yeah, I was going to say that Vinegar Syndrome's favorite release. But I'm just going to throw it out there. You maybe you have some pull with UEW. They need to book the Battle of the Horror Hostesses. Have Maria do battle with Katarina. Maybe Halloween special. I think that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think Maria would get killed.
Hey, make it a triple threat death match. The Pumpkin Queen could take them both out potentially. A little more UEW. The image of Maria just getting power bombed through a flaming table would really, I think, sell tickets. So, but yeah, another good interview. Rebecca Holden kind of talks a little bit. The Barbara Hooper, the actress in this, was apparently married to Robert Patrick not too long during or after this. They talk about shooting in the giant castle with the moat. Definitely better locations in this one. A lot of these movies really don't feel as cheap as you might expect, even measuring them with current sort of B movies. But Equalizer 2000 actually kind of did. That was the only one that felt kind of dated.
I was kind of disappointed with that.
Seeing somebody, I mean, you have real M16 guns and tanks, as she talks about, real fire, and I like that. Like I said, I like that. The movie may feel dated, but I still enjoy that. I wouldn't mind seeing more films like this hitting, I was going to say video stores, but Netflix, I guess, now, and what have you. And it's a good little interview. She talks about the stunt work, which they get to do a lot more because they don't have the liability issues that they do in the U.S. So yeah, I mean, this one for me, I actually really liked it. It kind of worked for me being different, and it's not perfect, but I give this one a 3.5. I enjoyed it. I like that it is that one that's just a little bit different. It's not the top of the pack, but it's different and it works. As far as the extras, they're a little more sparse on this one, but still, I give it a 3. I think they did a pretty good job.
I'm 3 on both counts. I thought the movie you liked a little bit better than me, like you said. And extras, about a 3 also. But I mean, I don't regret any of these purchases. I want more. I can't wait till we get more. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, we should at least have Dune Warriors, because I know he announced that, but the question is it going to be Blu-ray? I certainly hope so. That's, David Carradine one, so it would make sense. But I don't know, what else does he have? I'm trying to think if there was anything else from the post-Nuke line that he would have. Hell, Water Wars, Sergio Santiago's last film, has yet to be released stateside, as far as I know.
Yeah, I don't know what else they have over at Code Red. I mean, he's announced that the trailer was all over for Dune Warriors, so that's one. But, I mean, it doesn't have to be another 3. He could just, I know he tends to like to release his titles in 3, but maybe we'll just get a couple other, Cormans or something. Who knows?
And just going off topic for a second, because it's something we didn't have in the news bit, I believe I saw a comment that he's going to be putting The Strangeness out on Blu-ray, which is one of those out-of-print Code Red discs. I know he's talked a lot about some of his upcoming Blu-rays are going to be Blu-rays of other films that he already has. So I think he even said early August or something for that. I can't remember exactly what he said, but the store, there are a lot of, at one point thought, out-of-print titles back last I checked. Who knows by the time you listen to this, if you want to check those out. And yes, so obviously we're having a shorter show tonight. I do have a solo review for you guys before we cut out. Just to throw this out there for people that might be listening to this show later, we're going to have probably at least a couple weeks of normal format shows. We'll be back next week and probably at least the week after with our normal format. But I am moving, so at some point we're going to have slightly different formats. We won't be doing news because it'll be old news, so we're gonna pre-record some good stuff for you to enjoy. We're gonna have some commentaries. We're gonna have some more sort of half review shows, just so I get settled, and we will be back and better than ever. So hopefully we won't miss too many weeks. That's kind of our goal. Just throwing it out there.
Maybe I'll throw it under construction on a banner or something. Please excuse the mess.
Absolutely. It doesn't take that long. Right now we're debating. Our house is essentially sold, dotting the I's, crossing the T's on, the typical home sale stuff. But depending where we're going, I mean, it's just pretty much going to be getting all my shit down there, and there's a lot of shit. So getting all that down there and getting everything hooked up. So we may not miss any time at all. It's entirely possible. It's just it'll just depend how long it takes us to close on the next house. So maybe we'll get lucky and it'll be a vacated house that we can kind of get right into. But yes, our final review for the evening, which is a solo review from me, is Artsploitation Films' new Blu-ray, The Treatment. They have been on, I should say, from director Frank Van Den Eden. Hopefully I didn't butcher that name. I probably did. Or no, actually, that's not the director. I'm reading the director of photography. The director is Frank Herbo. And this film is based on the international best-selling novel by British crime writer Mo Hayder. The Treatment is a gripping, unsettling story. A police inspector is assigned to a case where a mother and father have been bound and beaten, and their young son is missing. As he investigates, the troubled cop uncovers other similar cases, including a repressed episode from his own childhood. Grim and wholly engrossing, The Treatment is a dark, disturbing thriller with an edge. This one is a Belgian film. It's another in a line of artsploitation titles that have just been fantastic lately, from Horsehead, and which was our most recent one, to Der Samurai, which I wasn't quite as keen on, but was still considered a great film by a lot of people. And the Treatment is fantastic. It's about as good as you can get for a mystery thriller. I want to throw out at the very beginning, this definitely goes into some pretty disturbing territory. It is sort of a pedophile that they're hunting, and may or may not have connections to the disappearance of the lead's brother. Lots of twists and turns in this one, fantastically written, really disturbing. There's no gore. They don't really show a whole lot, but there's a lot of fucked up stuff in the film that's, mostly implied, but certainly maybe a rough watch for some people. The lead, Gert van Rampelberg, who plays Nick Kaffmeyer, fantastic. There was just something about him that I could really see Hollywood come a knocking, and you have a big star there. I don't know how his English is, but he was great in this. And this is just so not an American movie. It's very... I don't want to get into the spoilers, obviously, because that would be doing a huge injustice. Not a lot of people are talking about this one right now, but I kind of see this being something that I would be shocked if it doesn't get an American remake at some point. You kind of have that sort of girl with the dragon tattoo, prisoners, kind of a lot of vibes. It just has pitch perfect vibe to it, very dark, very just pitch perfect. I mean, and as they go through it, and there's some different twists, they throw a lot of things in there where you kind of think you know what's going on, and then they kind of throw a curveball at you. I can't say enough good things about this. Artsploitation is becoming one of the go-to companies as far as quality goes. They're on a hell of a run right now. Like I said, Der Samurai, Horsehead. They put Wither out a while back, which was absolutely fantastic. I haven't watched it yet, but House with 100 Eyes is another DVD-only release that they just put out recently that I can only imagine if it's half this good. Who knows? They might be the company of the year. So, yeah, like I said, if you're at all into films like Seven and, a lot of these sort of horror thriller type, you definitely should check this out. It's disturbing. It's very just raw and real, and I give this one I mean, I can't really think of anything wrong with this one. I give this one a 5. I think it's a great film. Definitely worth checking out. I mean, some people now again, some might say, well, this one's more a thriller and not a horror movie, and I don't know. Depending how you choose to debate, I mean, there's definitely some horrific shit to be had, but however you want to classify it for the type of film it is, I think it's pretty close to perfect, if not perfect. I can't think of anything to criticize. In fact, you know, when we review movies, we always do notes, and I got so engrossed in this, I stopped taking notes. You know, I literally have a blank page with just the director and you know, typical stuff, you know, about the production, and because I was so engrossed in the movie, I just wanted to see what happened. So, you know, take a rainy day and you want to just really enjoy a good mystery thriller. People may have different opinions about the ending. I liked it the way it ended, actually. It's, again, I don't want to reveal too much, but it doesn't necessarily go exactly how you would expect an American movie to, or a lead in an American movie. Like I said, it's a little bit different. It's a very cryptic review. There's a lot I want to say, but check it out. I thought it was great, and Todd, I think you'll like it too. It's one of these ones that I will throw out there. It's only available with English subtitles, and that is the way to watch it. I'm sorry, I would not want to see a dubbed version of this. It didn't bother me at all, and that's just the way to watch this one. So yeah, 5 stars, and that's all we got for you guys tonight. We're going to end a little bit early, and we will be back next week. I know we've got a lot of new reviews for you guys, and Todd, unless I'm missing something, I guess we can end this one early tonight.
Well, we're real early. No, we'll be back next week with another show, back to our normal format. We're still ironing out the details, but we will have all the news and whatnot. Are we forgetting anything? Oh, well, Tuesdays, make sure you listen to the calling hours. And
yep.
I don't know if they're on this Sunday, but they are every Sunday. I think they're bi-monthly. Creepshow Radio on Sundays.
And
just keep an eye out for Horror
Be sure
Society.
to add the Flesh Wound Radio and Creepshow Radio and Horror Society Facebook pages if you haven't, so you can always keep up to date with what's going on.
And don't forget to download on iTunes. Sure, I believe you can subscribe on iTunes. I'm not an Apple guy,
Absolutely.
I admit.
So I'm not either, but I know you can. And I will throw this out there right before we cut out. We are talking about doing some commentaries, and we'd love to hear from you. If there's a movie that you really think, and I should say comedic commentaries, we're not really, qualified necessarily to do a serious commentary when we don't have somebody from the movie on. But, any sort of riff track style commentary you might want us to do, hey, throw it out there and we'll do it. We're talking about a few right now. So yes, we will see you guys next week.
Yes, we will. And I guess I'm going to play some outro music. Well, I guess I'll play our temporary, I can't even say our temporary theme, our special edition theme for our outro. And and there we go. And good night.
With AT&T, take your U.S. plan to Mexico at no extra charge. When you choose an eligible plan, place calls, send text, and enjoy your plan data in Mexico like in the U.S. It's that easy. AT&T, mobilizing your world. Subject to plan rates, terms, international fees, overage charges, or data speeds. Restrictions apply. See store for plan details.
Danny, I just figured out that if I switch to Metro PCS, I get 2 Samsung Galaxy phones free.
Cool, Dad.
And I could be a super dad with 2 free Samsung Galaxy phones and call myself Double Galaxy Man.
Or you could give the second phone to your sidekick.
Yeah, I guess I could do that.
That's right. 2 free Samsung Galaxy On 5 smartphones are all yours when you switch to Metro PCS. Metro PCS. Wireless figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.